Greetings, friends and future friends. Today's video is on the Korg Nautilus. Now, what I want to show you today is a quick overview on how to use the sampler in the Korg Nautilus. And if you want to get good at using that sampler, I suggest you take a few hours and just play with it. You'll find that it's not that hard to learn. So, let's get in the studio and see how those things work. We now have the Korg Nautilus started up. And the first thing we want to do is go to Global. Go over to the bottom and go Audio. Now, what I've done here is I made the selection of line because I'm using a preamp. My microphone is going into a preamp and then coming into the Korg Nautilus. If you just had a microphone coming in, you might want to select mic. So I'm going to go over to my preamp, turn it on, or bypass off, and check 1, 2. I can see a little bit of signal going up here. Let's bring these up to 21. And this one up to 21. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, that's the first step. We have audio coming in, audio input. We're going to worry about that later, but the audio setup, we can see that we have the microphone working and it's producing a signal. Now that we know we have signal from our microphone going into the Korg and we can see the meters going up and down, let's go back to mode and go into sampling. Now the first thing we want to do before we do anything is tap on the sampling bar here and see if the meters are moving. So we know everything's connected. We're getting a signal in here. So let's turn that off. Now let's go up here first and cancel. We'll go up there and tap on that. And we're going to go over here and we're going to go rename multi-sample because this is what we're going to create, a multi-sample. We're going to go on there and we're going to tap this over and we're going to call this Hello Goodbye. Okay. Now we can see that our multi-sample up here is actually saved as Hello Goodbye. So the first thing we want to do now is create samples for our multiple sample. Because when we create a preset or a program, we're going to have multiple samples being played. So let's create the first sample. We have it on index. Now index will be the number of how many samples, and it'll be a registration of that sample. So we have index 1, and you can see it says 1 of 1. So this is going to be the first sample. And then let's create this. Let's bring this up to C4. Bring that up to C4. Where's C4? There we go. And bring this up to C4. Oh, cancel. Bring this up to C4. There we go. Where's C4? There's C4. All right, so this first sample will be starting to play on C4. Will be its original key, and its top key will be C4. So what we want to do now is create a sample. So it looks like everything is going good. We're going to hit sampling. We got movement in our meters. Hello. Sounds good. So now what we want to do is we want to come over here and we want to take, and we can see it's right there, cancel. And we want to make sure, sometimes when you tap on this and it's already tapped, it brings up the menu, but that's okay, because then that makes sure that you know that you're going back to this sample. So then what we're going to do is go over here, tap on that, and we're going to say rename sample. Click on that. We're going to bring this down, and we're going to say hello. And go okay. It looks like it's going to go okay. Okay. Now that sample, that first sample, is labeled hello. And we know it's a stereo because it says stereo right here. Now what we want to do is create another sample. So we go over here and create. Now you're going to see we're creating sample 2 of 2. This number right here is the number of samples in this multiple sample. So we're going to create 2. And let's make this, let's go up and make this C5. There's C5. Make this go up to C5. There's C5, C5. Everything's looking good. Everything's looking good. Let's push our sampling. I see we have movement in our meters. Goodbye. And let's go over here, tap on that, go back up here, rename the sample, go over here, and we're going to call this, of course, Goodbye. Okay. Now we have two samples. We have a sample. If we go back here to the index, we can scroll back and see that 1 is hello and 2 is goodbye. So now we want to set up our multiple sample or a multi-sample. We'll hit page on the deck of the keyboard, brings us up to this screen, and we'll go to multi-sample. Now, if we wanted to add samples that were already previously recorded, we could go in here. This screen will bring up, you can see we're on index 2, 2 of 2, and that's goodbye. And if we click on that and go to 1, you'll see it says hello. Then if we wanted to insert a sample, cut a sample, copy a sample, or create another sample, we could do that. If you had previously recorded samples you want to bring in here, then you could bring them in this way. But what we're going to do now is we're going to hit page on the deck of the keyboard, brings us up to this screen. So what we're going to do here is sample edit. And now what we want to do is we can see that if we play this, nothing's happening. Because what we want to do is we want to bring, here's our sample, you can see our waveform right there. So what I do is go on to start. Now it's funny, I usually just put on start and then go past the wave. And then once you go past it, that looks good. And then back up. Now we have the wave file. And I'm going to turn my microphone off on the preamp, bring up the speaker volume, and if we play it, hello, 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 sounds pretty good. You know, we could back that down a little bit more, make it play quicker. Hello, hello. And now we're going to truncate it, and basically it's putting it into a truncate. And we want them at the front to end. And now when you truncate, it's going to create a whole new sample type deal. So we know our sample, we cancel out of this. If we go to this sample, we can see that it's 0, 0, hello, and 0, 0, 1. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually resample that and truncate it. So cancel. So what we're going to do is go over here, truncate. And then what I'm going to do is take off the override, click this to 0, click this to 1, say override, and go OK. Now we have hello, hello. Sounds really good. Now let's go back up here and go to our, we can see this is far off. So let's go back, hit our start. Go back here, go past. We can see we're going past it. And then we're going to back up. And if we play it. Goodbye. Goodbye. Now, if we look at this, we can see that this is on 2 and 3. So we're going to back up. And we're going to truncate that. Go over here. Truncate. And we're going to hit the override off, and we're going to make that go to 02, and this to 03. Tap the override and go OK. And now, goodbye. We have sample 2 playing. Goodbye. And we have sample 1, if we go back up here. Now, sometimes when you're flipping back and forth, if you're going here and we go to 002, enter, you're going to see this is not lit up. And for some reason, you can see down here that it's 0, 0. So it may be in truncation or whatever. Sometimes this information gets lost. I still haven't figured out why. But all we have to do is basically go to here Go back up like we did before. Go to start. Go back because we already figured out what it's going to be. And boom, and
goodbye, goodbye.
And if we go over to here and go to 1 and do the same thing, go all the way to the end, and then back, and play it.
Hello.
Now we have it all together.
Hello.
So now let's go to multi-sample. So now what we want to do is hit the page button and go back to multi-sample. And if you look, you'll see we have in our index, there's sample 1, C4 to C4 is hello, and C5 to C5 is sample 2. And if I play the C4,
hello, hello, hello.
If I play the C5,
goodbye, goodbye.
Sounds really cool. So now we've created a multi-sample, but we're not done yet. What we can do is hit page again, and let's go to EQ and make sure, let's let a little gain on the high end. Bring some high ends up, make it a little clearer.
Hello, 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 goodbye, hello.
Now we hit the page button again, and I want to jump up to the loop edit first. So we go to loop edit. You can see down here there's some things you can do. If we play that C4 again.
Hello, hello, hello.
We go over here and make sure that this is on 1. So we're on 1, because remember, hello was C4, and that was the first sample.
Hello.
Now we could actually make it play in reverse.
Walla, 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 walla.
And the loop.
Hello, 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 hello.
And the loop tune.
Hello, 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 hello.
What this will do is make the second part of that loop go down a little bit. If we go down like maybe a whole half step.
Hello, 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 hello.
You can see how the whole thing is gone down almost a whole step. That's a percentage. So 100 would be 1 full half step. Bring it back to 0. And these are the things you can do, a loop lock and all that stuff. I'm going to leave the loop off for this. But again, what you can do is now if I put the loop on that, you're going to see that hello's going to loop, but goodbye won't.
Goodbye, 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 hello.
So that's something very important when you're dealing with this, when you're going to the page and you're doing with loop edit. Make sure you're aware of what sample you're looping, because we're going to take that loop off. I don't want the loop on. So that's a very important thing when you're in this page, because if you turn the loop on and you're wondering why that sample won't loop, you might have turned the loop on to a different sample. So if let me just do this again. So if I put the loop on 1, now if I go to sample 2, you're going to see that the loop's gone. So, and then if I turn it back to sample 1, the loop's back on. So that's something you want to keep aware of when you're in this mode of loop edit. Now I want to go into the fun part of this sampling. Go into IFX, and now we can assign effects to that loop or that whatever we have, that sample. So we'll go over here and we're going to go to IFX1 and go insert effects. I'll turn that off for a minute. So first of all, let's go in here and add a reverb. We'll go in here and add a reverb and overb. Let's try that. Turn it on and see what we have.
Hello, hello, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
That sounds really cool. What if we go back and add a reverb hall?
Goodbye, hello.
I think the overb sounds better.
Hello, hello.
So now we added an effect. Let's go back and exit out of this. And let's go and let's take this and we'll bring, let's not get that one. This one, we'll loop it in. And we're going to turn this on, turn the second effect on. And let's create a delay. We'll create a delay, okay. And if we do
hello, 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 hello.
Wow, that sounds really killer.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Let's go back into effects And let's make this a shorter delay. Let's put a regular delay. Okay.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Now what we want to do, because we're going to create a preset, let's go down here to source and make that switch number 1. And when we turn that switch on, we want to take away at 100%. So right now we have the delay.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
But if I turn switch number 1 on by the joystick,
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
we don't have the delay. So what we just did there, let's go back, go IFX, go back to routing. What we did is we routed IFX. It's going to IFX. It's going into the first thing. We go into insert effects. It's going into the reverb, and then it's going into the delay. Then when we went to the delay, we created a switch down here to turn the delay off and on. And let's get back to our multi-sample.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Sounds really cool. Now, MFX and total effects, we're not going to have too much of that on this because we're going to have it purely dealing with the program. But looks like we have a good sample. So let's go back. And now let's go to multi-sample. Let's go up here and go convert multi-sample to program right down here. We'll tap on that. And let's look at this again. I think I had hello, goodbye over there. And let's go OK. Hello, goodbye. Small a 050. Hello, OK. Convert the program. Go OK. And there you go. We just took that multi-sample and converted it to a program. We're now back at my set list, and I have Italian grand piano. And if we bring up that program, there's my Italian grand piano. So what we want to do now is go up here and click on user. We'll go down here to user. And we want to go over till we start seeing the small A's. There's a 45. And there it is. Small a 050. Hello, goodbye. Bring it up. And there's the program we just created from the multi-samples. And if I hit that C5.
Goodbye.
And if I hit the C4.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
All right. Now, if we go back and if we go actually hit page and go back into our effects, you can actually see the effects we created in that multiple sample have carried over. And if we go to insert effects, you can see zero verb, left, center, right delay. It's all on. You can see how I brought it in and brought it right into delay. It's all there. And there is. So now you've converted a sample into a multi-sample into a preset or a program. And now that it's a program, you can do anything you want. Now, what's really cool is now I haven't played with it much, but the arpeggios and drum machines will already been brought into the program. So now if we look at this program, everything is working just like we had it working in the multiple sample. I'm going to show you here in a little clip of the video, but now light number 1 on the joystick, above the joystick, switch number 1 is lit up. And it's lit up, and that's meaning that it's on, which means the delay is turned off.
Goodbye.
But if I turn switch 1 off,
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
But there's another thing now, is that the Nautilus will actually go into a default mode. So if we go over and tap on the drums, or go to arpeggio and drums, you can see we have the drums off. But if we turn the drums on, it's going to give us what it comes up with is a natural beat for this sample. And if you listen,
Hello. Hello. Hello.
which is really cool. And you can see if I come over here and I latch it,
Hello. Hello. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
really cool stuff. But it even goes even further than that. So we have the drums on, and we're going to latch the drums so they start up. But we can also go over to quick split. So now I know that the C5 is
goodbye,
and I know C4 is
hello,
now I can add a bass line to this.
hello,
Now, when you play with that sampler, there's a lot of things you can play with. And what we did is we created tones that go up. But it'll also default to tones going down. So basically, when I play the C5,
goodbye,
and if I play actually play the, what would be the B flat 5,
goodbye, 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 goodbye.
so from C5 down all the way down to C4, that goodbye will go down.
Goodbye, good. Hello,
And same with hello. From C4 down,
hello, 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 hello.
so when we go back to the multi-sampling, there's a lot of things in there. You know, I suggest if you really want to get into the sampling, go in there and spend some time. This is a quick overview, and it actually sounds pretty cool. It's a cool little tool to have. You could sample anything. Now, again, you could actually create samples by importing samples and all that, but this was just an overview of how to create a program from a sample.
Goodbye. Hello. Goodbye. Hello. 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 Goodbye. 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 Good. 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 Hello. 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 Goodbye. 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 Hello. 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 Goodbye.
So I hope this video gave you some insight on how to use the sampler in the Korg Nautilus. It's a great creative tool. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. You help us grow the channel. That way we can bring you more cool stuff. So take care, my friends, and thanks for watching.